Well, hi there, everybody. This is David from My Metal Today, and it's day 2 in Chicago, Illinois at the Legions of Metal Festival. And I am here with the band Professor Emeritus, who I actually discovered because of this festival. And we're going to learn a little bit more about them today. So maybe starting off, how about each of you introduce yourselves and tell folks your name, what you play, maybe a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Esteban. I'm the singer.
Short and sweet. All right. I'm Tyler. I play guitar.
I'm Lee. I also play guitar.
I'm Jose, I'm the bass player.
I'm Chris. Play drums.
Very cool. Well, for starters, I'd love to know, how did the band start out? Maybe we can start there.
So it really started as me just writing stuff on my own way back in I usually say 2010 is the starting point. And then a couple years later, nothing had really happened. I slowly started to do some things with some other people who aren't part of our lineup right now. And that led to the first album coming out in 2017. And then we ended up losing our singer and drummer. And then the lineup was just the three of us at that time. And we very quickly lucked into Chris helping us out on drums. But then it took many years to find the right singer. And it was, I believe, the beginning of 2024? Yeah, 2023? 24 when I reached out and happened to catch Esteban on the right day, and then we were able to pretty quickly put the second album together, which came out in 25.
So I'll tease on that thread a little bit. So how did you guys find each other?
I was aware of him from his other band, Osiris,
Yep.
and his singing style is a little different with that band, but there were a couple little parts that I thought made me think he might work with this style of music. And then these guys saw them play live here around that time and were impressed also.
They did that show opening for High Spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just reached out one day, and the response was, "I'm really busy, I'll get back to you on Monday." And he has later told me he was just going to tell me no on Monday because he gets asked to do a lot of things. But then an hour later, he's like, "Oh, I really like this," and so I caught him in the right mood.
No, I didn't look because I listened to the songs. So I was like, oh yeah, I want to sing here. I like this.
Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that if it wasn't for that show, I had never heard of Esteban at all. And then I saw them playing with Sarah, or singing with Sarah, so it's like, wow, that guy could really sing. And when he suggested him, it's like, oh yeah, you got my vote on that. So it was kind of a product of that show, at least for my push as well. It's like, oh yeah, that guy's good. So go out and go see shows. You might end up with a singer.
No, that's super cool. So that's actually maybe a nice transition, since you mentioned you liked how he sung. You know, I know when I was first researching you guys and saying, okay, well, who is Professor Emeritus? You know, one of the more common genre descriptions is kind of epic power doom. And I don't disagree with that, but your approach to it is a little different than maybe the standard epic power doom, in the sense that clearly you have I think there's more power metal influence than maybe the standard, and obviously I think the vocal approach is a little bit different as well. So my question for you is, how did you kind of arrive at this kind of blend or melding of power and doom, and what else you might call it, and how would you even describe your music?
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned about the power metal. To me, there's not a whole lot of that, especially on the second album. So I don't know if I can accurately answer that part of it, okay. But kind of the beginnings of me wanting to play something along these lines, kind of I call it somewhere between Iron Maiden and Candlemass.
Yep.
But the first album of the band, Argus, in 2009, just blew me away, and they're a little different than us now, but it's kind of in between doom and traditional metal.
Yep.
So I just wanted to kind of grab onto that, and so that was really the big inspiration. And then I would say that the first album is more power metal than the newer one, but maybe largely just due to the vocals being a little different than how they are now. So I answered part of that, but not the not all of it.
I think those two bands, Iron Maiden and Candlemass, and everything in between, that's kind of what the band covers. I don't know if Powerwell falls in that in between that category, but when I describe the band to friends or whatever that they haven't heard about it, that's literally the two bands that
Yep.
I know. And it is a wide range, which is kind of weird because the music for this album was written before Esteban got here for how many years?
Yeah, several. Yeah.
And he literally, like, this is a blank state, this is the music, and he just, anything vocally, like, oh my goodness, he kind of just took it and just made it his own, and it made that sound. So I cannot wait for the next album because it's literally starting from scratch. So that's what we're
And I feel embarrassed because I didn't know who Candlemass was. And I was like, oh,
But he knows who Iron
now I
Maiden is.
love Candlemass.
He'd actually never listened to metal before.
Right. I only sing K-pop.
I think, to that point, some of the songwriting, like Lee does the majority of the guitar riffs and a lot of the songwriting. The second album, especially, the first album was totally written before I had joined the band. So I had some ideas as we were working on the second one, and, sending some ideas to Lee, and then just like him and I continually kind of like, oh, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And kind of just continually refining it. A lot of the songs, I feel like, especially Lee on his own, the ones that he's written fully, there's like so many passes through it that it's like we really kind of like nailed down, like this is exactly how we want this song to sound. So I generally kind of come up with some riffs and I'm like, oh yeah, this sounds good to me, and then I'll send it to Lee and he'll be, oh, okay, let's try this, and this. So we did have the album like totally written before, Esteban was even kind of on our radar, but some of that I think allowed us to really kind of like tighten up everything in the songs before we got to the point of recording.
Very cool. Very cool. So actually a question for Esteban. So you didn't know who Candlemass was. Had you listened to much Doom at all? Like
Paradise Lost.
Paradise Lost, okay.
Yeah,
So you didn't know
no.
Paradise Lost. And
That's one of my favorite bands.
and I would
Blind
probably
Guardian.
Yeah.
Blind Guardian, Paradise Lost. That's what I was listening for like 10 years.
And were you familiar with like a band like Trouble?
Because of them. Like,
Oh, wow,
I feel
okay.
that sometimes like, listen to this. Like, and I'm happy. Like, that's why I joined you guys, so I can learn about music.
Learn from the professors.
Right.
Because I definitely get some of the the Trouble and Candlemass kind of influences. I definitely hear the Iron Maiden. Some people.
Well, I know them. I know
Yeah.
them.
Some people would probably fight me on it, but to me, like Iron Maiden is like the traditional metal that was like the precursor to power metal in a lot of respects.
I
So,
agree. I am the biggest Iron Maiden fan that I know, and I agree with that.
Yeah, so a lot of times when I say power metal, it's more my bias toward us. I'm not the biggest traditional metal fan myself. I tend to like more things that are in the power arena, but Iron Maiden is Iron Maiden, like they're amazing. So
Yeah, and I think all of us have like a very different like favorite band, if you want to call it that. So I think like the influence from the five of us, like we all have like a little different piece of the puzzle that we bring together. So it does kind of have somewhat of a different blend than, like you said, like your normal, epic doom is going to
right,
sound
because my
like.
favorite style is black metal. Like I love black metal. I just
Really?
love- oh yeah, black metal and all like black and trash metal.
Yep.
Like Hell Ripper and all that style, but I can't sing like that. So.
okay, that's what I was going to ask you. Are we going to get any like black and tortured vocals on the next
Maybe.
album?
They're gonna be terrible, but yeah.
I have professors, they'll teach me.
So I'm curious, from a drumming standpoint, what would you say some of your biggest influences are?
My favorite drummer is Bill Ward, Black Sabbath. I really like the way he kind of composes a part and comes up with something that's not maybe the usual thing you would find in a drummer. So that's kind of what I go for with everything I play in. Another drummer who probably doesn't influence this band, but Art Blakey, jazz drummer. But that's probably not good with this. I really like a lot of the drummers that come up with something that you wouldn't normally think of. So I really like Matt Cameron from Soundgarden, specifically his work with Soundgarden.
yeah.
Not so much Pearl Jam, although he's doing fine with them too. I really like Dave Whitty, who from Burnt by the Sun, Human Remains, and a score of others. I think he does a really good job of coming up with really creative drum parts. People like that who come up with something that's like, I don't really use double bass like at all, so I have to come up with other ways to kind of fill those gaps. come up with something different that's going to have that sonic sound to it. So I like those guys and gals who can fill that space and come up with something interesting with what they have.
Well, of course, the song title is escaping me at the moment, but there's one song on the latest album where you're just like going crazy with all kinds of fills, and it's very frenetic and kind of nonstop, and like that was really striking to me. Like, and
Probably A Corpse's Dream.
yes,
The first one,
yes,
yeah.
that's what it is. And as you kind of, as I dove in, and if you've read any of my reviews, and if you haven't, it's okay, you should. And so should you, who are watching the interview. I really enjoyed technical deep dives into the music, and so I really love going into each of the instruments and what they're doing. And one of my favorite aspects of drumming is I love listening to the fills and really saying, okay, well, what is the drummer doing in the empty space or the negative space? And to me, a lot of times the differentiation between a good drummer and a great drummer is how are they utilizing that negative space in a way that really adds additional texture and depth to the song. And I feel like you do a really fabulous job of that on the album.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, he completely nailed it. When Chris came into audition, because at one point it was just us three, he sat down and he pulled out sheet music. It was like, oh my God.
We should mention too, at one point before we had Chris, we had the idea of finding another guitar player and me playing drums.
And then that's like half a song.
Yeah. I don't fancy myself a drummer. I can drum, but I would not call myself a drummer. So that's an interesting kind of transition period where we tried that for a little while. And we're like, we got to get someone who knows what they're doing.
But I mean, we could not have gotten anybody better, to be honest with you.
We found a professor.
Another professor. There you go. Yeah.
All right, so we keep mentioning Professor. So one of my burning questions is, what is the origin of the name? Obviously, I know what a Professor Emeritus is, but what is the origin of the name?
Yeah.
He was here yesterday. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Around the time I started writing some of the songs that appeared on the first album, I was still in college then, and walked by the Emeritus faculty office, and just kind of thought it had a cool ring to it. I know probably the majority of reviews that have been written about our newest album say like, why in the world would they use this name, and it's such a terrible name, and I don't really care. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But there's not really any kind of deep backstory. I just thought it sounded kind of cool, and there didn't seem to be another band called that. And it wasn't something of something, which a lot of bands are.
Yes,
it was
that's true.
Avoided the preposition, whatever.
And there's nothing red in the name, like crimson or anything.
Right.
No glory.
I do think sometimes we also kind of pleasantly surprise people when they haven't heard of us and they're like, oh, what is this, a Ghost tribute band? We've gotten that.
Interesting.
We've gotten that more than once.
Emeritus.
Yeah. So sometimes that kind of works in our favor that it, people come out like pleasantly surprised afterwards.
Okay, one final question, just for each of you. Let me know, what is your favorite song to play or perform live, and why? Cannibal Corpse. He's already thinking about extreme metal.
Give away the powder that we're playing tonight.
Passage.
And why?
then Corpses. In Corpses too. I don't know. It's just the energy. I love all the songs.
Well,
That's why I'm here. Like I said, I call you Monday, and then after an hour, I was like, okay, I'm here.
So the first time we played Passage live, you gave it a special little introduction. Is it about that, or?
Yeah, it's about my friend Sebastian, and everyone was like, "Who's this Sebastian?" It was my cat that he passed, so I dedicated the whole album to my silence.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I know it's lame, but
No, not at all.
He was my friend. Yeah.
No, that's really
Sebastian.
cool.
Yeah.
Fun insider information.
The mystery is gone.
Oh,
I
sorry.
know. So I was always, I don't want to talk about it.
How about you?
There's not really one that stands out from the others. I will say my favorite riffs to play, there's one in Zosimos that I think is super fun to play. And then there's one just kind of like this solstice, like march type riff in Defeater. That one's really fun to play too. But as far as like individual song, I mean, we've rotated the songs out in the set list, play different ones. So I like to kind of just, I like when we do that and kind of keep it fresh and play different ones. So we're not playing the same. You know, in 30 years, we haven't played Corpse's Dream like 2,000 times. You know, so. But yeah, there's a couple riffs that stick out, but no like real individual song that I prefer over the others.
Cool.
Probably Corpse's Dream for me, mainly because I like songs that move through a lot of different moods and feels. So in that song, there's like some really slow stuff toward the end, and then it picks up a lot, and then goes slow again. The beginning is a little faster, but not super fast, and then slows down. So I just like a lot of shifts.
Yep.
So that's probably the one for me.
Cool.
I think these guys would know what my favorite song on the album is, but it's Pragmatic Occlusion. The same way that the vocals was an open canvas for Esteban, the bass was the same thing for me. And I kind of put my own spin on it, but that second half of the song that just grooves and everything as a piece of music is incredible, but the bass line, he wrote it, and I'm like, I'm playing this exactly how it's written because it's just, that whole piece of music is just fantastic. And that's, yeah, out of all the first songs, first album, second album, that's my favorite song.
Cool.
I do like playing a Corpse's Dream. It's really fun to play. A lot of the fills that you're kind of mentioning, I come from a little bit of a jazz background, so my fills aren't the same every time. I kind of switch a little bit. There's a few that I kind of pick and choose from, but a lot of the time it's never the same. It's mostly because I can't remember what I played. So a lot of like that song is me just like ripping on Steve Gadd stuff.
Yep.
But my favorite song is probably Calypsia Caves. I really love slow, heavy doom metal. So like a lot of sludge metal. Trouble's one of my favorite bands, so I'm really psyched to be playing with them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So like the slow stuff is really what I really like to play.
Well, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. It was
Thank you.
really fun talking with you,
Yeah.
and I'm super ecstatic to see you in an hour and a half. So it'll be really good to see you guys for the first time. And if you haven't heard their latest album, you should definitely check it out. It's really fantastic. All right.
Thank you.